Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Cam sent me a note about a very Canadian story, and this is from the Canadian Press. And the story's not that long, and the headline actually sums up 99% of it. But there are some interesting questions legally that arise from it. Zamboni driver arrested for impaired driving after crashing into the boards of a Quebec rink. So we're talking about the vehicle that comes out and fixes the ice at a hockey game. If you go to any hockey games between periods, a guy comes out on this big thing, and he drives it around real slowly, and it fixes the ice, and then he leaves, and a few minutes later, the teams come back out, and it's like a brand new rink, nice and clean. It's a Zamboni. And of course, the boards are the walls that go around the playing surface where they play hockey, and Quebec, of course, is in Canada. Officers administered a sobriety test and then arrested the rink employee, according to police. Now, Morgan Lowry wrote this to the Canadian Press, and the man was 25 years old at the time. He's a Zamboni driver in western Quebec. He's been arrested on suspicion of impaired driving after a low-speed crash at a hockey rink on Monday. Now, here's the question I have, and I do not know the answer to this. Was he arrested on impaired driving under the vehicle code, which would suggest that law considers the Zamboni a vehicle and the rink a place where you can get arrested for a driving offense? In other words, could they have given the man a speeding ticket if he got that thing up to a certain speed? Could they get him for reckless driving? And so I'm wondering if the impaired driving is actually written under the vehicle code or actually written in some other way, such as like just reckless endangerment, doing something dangerous in public. So police say the 25-year-old man was arrested after he drove the ice resurfacing machine into the boards at a rink in Chelsea, Quebec, while cleaning the ice between two games. So apparently this isn't between periods, it's between games. And I'll admit I hadn't thought of that because I've never gone to see a doubleheader in hockey. I don't know that exists. I'm suspecting it's league play or something. But there's a video posted online which shows a referee skating alongside the machine and its driver as it heads straight into the boards with a loud crash. It's unclear if the ref was trying to blow the whistle on the guy or if he's simply skating along watching the guy, wondering, hey, he looks drunk. But of course, hitting the boards with the Zamboni, I mean, look, it's a big, wide open space, but it is surrounded by a wall, okay? If you hit the wall, you've done your job wrong. A sergeant of the police department, I'm guessing, there's this big, long phrase here, and I'm going to butcher this once just to make my friend JP laugh. Sergeant Martin Fournel of Sécurité Publique, MRC de Colline de la Hautois, says several people witnessed the event, and one of them called the police after seeing indicators that the driver might be impaired. So I'm guessing, because I see the word public in there, I'm guessing that this is a spokesperson for the police. I'm guessing. He says that police administered a sobriety test. And by the way, if you want the guy to walk a line, you haven't walked the blue line, right? I mean, it's there. Of course, walking on ice might be a problem. It says police administered a sobriety test and then arrested the rink employee, who was then released on a promise to appear in court at a later date. So he was arrested. Presumably, they often do hold people who are drunk drivers until they sober up enough to not be a danger to themselves or others. But of course, it's not like the guy's going to get on a Zamboni and drive home, right? Police say nobody was hurt, but a door onto the rink was damaged. So you might go, whew, that's good. Well, no, that's bad. Because there are several different levels of things you can do that get you in trouble. One of them is you can get in an accident where just it's obvious you weren't controlling your vehicle. Some kind of crash, right? Then a crash with property damage is usually a step above that, because that's worse. Not only did you lose control of your vehicle, but you hurt something. And then, of course, the next step up is bodily injury. If you injured somebody. Now, he didn't injure anybody, but he damaged the boards. And right now, there are hockey players in the audience who are getting a tingle up their spine going, wait, he damaged the hockey rink? A door onto the rink was damaged. Yes, he did. This is serious stuff. And I'm only partially joking there, because the fact that he did that is another indicator that he was drunk. And so it's unclear what's going on with all of this, because it is such a short story. It's like, oh, Henry. It's a short story. But it looks like it's possible that somebody realized the guy was drunk before he crashed the Zamboni. He may have looked drunk. He may have been behaving drunkly. Someone may have been talking to him before he got on board the machine. The referee might have been trying to hail the guy. I don't know. But the point is that when he crashes it and damages the door, that's an indicator that, the guy is not controlling this thing properly. But that gets us back to, and we've discussed this before, I've done videos before where state courts have upheld, meaning they've said this is okay, they've upheld traffic stops for people who are arrested for drunk driving in places where they're not on the roadway. So, for instance, in a large parking lot, I've seen a case before. Someone's driving through a parking lot, police officer pulls them over and goes, I think you're drunk driving. And somewhere down the road, they're in court and they're going, but Your Honor, I wasn't on the road, I was in a parking lot. We've also had it before where somebody is driving through an alleyway, and the alleyway was privately owned by the property owners who owned the properties that abutted up against the alleyway. The alleyway came out, and you could get onto the street there or here. These streets are public, but the alleyway, technically speaking, was private property. Police officer pulls somebody over there, gives them a ticket, drunk driving. They go to court, they go, Your Honor, we were in an alleyway, we were not on a public roadway. You have to understand that traffic laws, and again, I'm speaking very generally here, but I suspect there's a parallel to this in Canada. A lot of traffic laws are specific to a place and time, meaning that there will be a sign that says, speed limit, 55 miles per hour. Well, that speed limit is obviously a reference to the stretch of road the sign is next to. If there's one sign in front of a school, it might say speed limit 25 when school is in session, otherwise 35. Okay, so place and time. However, most states that I'm aware of, and I'm guessing many places elsewhere, have laws that say that you cannot operate a motor vehicle while intoxicated or impaired or under the influence of alcohol, et cetera, on any public roadway or any other place that is open to the public. So suddenly non-public places become fair game because they're open to the public. Parking lot at the grocery store, alleyway down the middle of the block. Those places are open to the public. And then, of course, you get in the argument about what happens if a police officer comes up, sees you in your own driveway, never saw you on the road. The question then is your driveway open to the public? And I've heard of stories where that's the argument, and a court has said yes. People driving down the road pull up your driveway, walk up to your door, knock on your door, say, hi, is so-and-so here? Oh, they're not? Okay, goodbye. They get back in the car and drive away. It's open to the public. But that's a different story. Here is the problem. That rink generally ain't open to the public for driving purposes. You can come in and sit in the stands and watch the hockey game, but you can't drive your car onto the rink and drive around out there. Might be fun, but you can't. Generally speaking, no. The only vehicle on that ice ever is that Zamboni for the most part, unless they do other things in that arena where they cover the ice and bring out, like, I don't know, Cirque du Soleil or something. But generally speaking, that's not open to vehicular traffic other than that Zamboni. And, of course, the other question is a Zamboni a motor vehicle under the local law? And I suspect the real problem here is that rink, and why it qualifies as a place where you could get arrested for drunk driving. So here's the thing. The man was charged with the crime, but it's not clear if he is charged with the crime as part of the local vehicle code, or again, like I said, simply a matter of, like, say, endangering the public while intoxicated. So it says here, and I'm just going off of what the story says, the Zamboni driver in Western Quebec has been arrested on suspicion of impaired driving after a low-speed crash at a hockey rink on Monday. And they say that this is while he is driving on the ice. He's cleaning the ice between two games. And if they're saying that he was arrested for the Zamboni driving on that ice, I don't think that would fly in a lot of places, at least not in America. But there are other things that would. So the idea that you're operating this extremely heavy piece of equipment, which could hurt people if handled improperly, and you're doing this in a building where there's people right there and right there and right there and right there, and you're crashing into stuff just feet away from people who can get seriously injured, that would be a problem. It's the question of whether it gets written up as a violation of the vehicle code or a violation of some other law. I don't know the answer to that. I don't. But it's an interesting discussion to have, right? So there you go. From the Canadian Press, and Morgan Lowry wrote that. Cam sent it. Thanks a lot. And it is a very Canadian story. Zamboni driver arrested for impaired driving while crashing into the boards of Quebec Rink. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. I, for one, welcome our new insect overlords.